should we get in to She-Hulk episode 7?
She-Hulk, the best She-Hulk episode yet.
Now, like I said earlier, like I think this was better than a lot of the episodes. I still don't think I'd put it above like maybe like the first two.
Oh, you think the first two are still better?
I think so.
I hated the first two.
Yeah, the first two were kind of slow for me.
I mean, I don't think there's been any great ones, but the first two I was like, okay, maybe this will go somewhere. And then once it got to like 3 and 4, I was like, oh, no, it won't.
Now I know what to expect.
I think this, even though it was better, I think it's still the plot, or the overall story is still moving at a glacier's pace. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think this advanced things very much. But
I've gotten to the point where I don't think there is a like overarching story. Maybe it's just each episode is like its own thing, and then small little overall things. But
yeah, I'm really getting the feeling that once we see Daredevil, it's going to be like when we saw Bruce in the spaceship, and he's just going to be like, to be continued.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's going to be. Okay, so She-Hulk episode 7 entitled The Retreat. So we start off, Jen happily gets ready for her date with Josh. And there's like kind of this date montage where she's like has a good date with him that ends in like an awkward handshake. Then she has another one and they almost look like they're going to hook up, but he leaves at the door again. And then finally the third date's charm. They get to the door and then they end up having some sex.
So I actually like this. I thought it was cute. It was kind of sweet. It was going well, and at the same time, like they're going through all these dates, they're going through all this stuff, and I'm like, what are the odds this guy's going to turn out to be a douchebag? And I'm like, it's just there's like this hint of sour in the back of my mind, this little seed, and you know it's not going to work, but it was cute, and you see her kind of falling for him, and
yeah, it was like a decently done montage.
Yeah. I did enjoy that. I thought it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it seemed like how a person would act if they were in that situation.
So when she wakes up, Josh is gone, and he won't respond to her text, and that's going to be a reoccurring thing.
Right. And then you go into the montage of her checking her phone for days and days.
So yeah, first she texts, and like he doesn't respond right away. And then, so now she's in her office with Nikki, and we find out that Jen is nominated for Female Lawyer of the Year, which is a thing, apparently.
Was she nominated or was She-Hulk nominated?
She-Hulk, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, at that point, you're like, it seems a little disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's like she had one case.
Yeah, exactly.
2 cases.
She just got hired on by that company.
She's the best around.
So now it goes to, like, her one date ended on Friday, so now it's Saturday, so Josh now has gone a full day without responding to her text. Jen is getting impatient, but then she gets called by Chuck, who is Emil Blonsky's parole officer. He says that Blonsky's inhibitor bracelet malfunctioned, and he wants Jen to meet him at Blonsky's retreat, so that if he has turned into the Abomination, she can, She-Hulk out and save his life, basically. Right. So it turns out that Emil, as far as we know, did not turn into Abomination. He says he got zapped by an electric fence while like trying to get one of his chickens or something. And so Chuck fixes the bracelet, and he wants to get out of there, so he leaves. Jen is about to leave when I wrote he was in. This isn't exactly right, but I didn't fix it after I wrote it. I said he was interrupted by a goat man and a fighting swordsman.
They were fighting on the property.
Yeah, they like knock into her car, which breaks her car, basically. So we find out these two are named Man Bull. He's not a goat, he's a bull. Man Bull and Swashbuckler. And they're basically at this retreat working, I guess, on their anger issues.
Right, yeah, they're trying to get straight from their violent impulses.
So yeah, Jen's car is broke, causing her to have to stay at this retreat. By the way, conspicuous by their absence is his 8 wives or 9 wives or whatever that aren't in this episode at all.
Oh yeah, I forgot they came to his trial. Yeah, the
Right.
little flower children.
You'd think at least one of them could make an appearance. They didn't want to pay those.
He tries to keep them away from Man Bull.
They didn't want to pay those extras anymore. So Jen is kind of like upset that she can't get any phone reception there because, of course, she's
That
obsessed.
montage is still going. Yeah.
Right. She's obsessed with Josh, wants to see if he's texted her back. And so, yeah, there's another montage where she's like walking around trying to get a signal. She can't get a signal. Finally, she gets a signal. But basically, it's in a spot where she stumbles upon this like kind of group therapy meeting between Emil and a bunch of like these like, third Z-list,
Bad guys.
yeah, basically villains, I guess, or people with powers or
Yeah, they're like they have powers, but maybe they're a little misdirected or something. I don't know.
right.
But they're trying to get right with the Lord.
So one of the guys that walks into this group is named Wrecker. And he was one of the guys that attacked Jen with like the light up tire iron
Yeah.
or whatever.
So this part doesn't really make sense to me.
It's not
It's
really.
like the other people there have superpowers. Like, I don't think he has superpowers.
No, I don't think so. He just, he had that magical weapon.
But also, like, the fact that he's here, how would you not like think he was
Up to something.
like one of like Emil's cronies or something?
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to be suspicious.
I mean, how small do they think New York is, like, at this point? Like, she's run into a couple people now. That guy she went on a date with, Tim or whatever.
I think it was Todd.
Todd. And then this guy. Like, she's meeting people over and over again in New York, just running into them.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and the other thing, I didn't write it down, but number one, like, they eventually in this meeting, they all kind of become friends, right? And he even mentions at some point that, like, oh, maybe this Josh guy is just after your blood or something. Like, he could at least, like, if they're really, like, buddies by the end of this, he could have been like, oh, by the way, I was working for this scumbag that
Yeah.
wanted your blood for nefarious purposes.
That's it. She never pursues that. It's like, what were you doing? I know you were trying to take my blood. And then she, like, lays down her defenses around him and, like, never really questions him at all about it. Just like, oh, he's trying to be a better person.
Yes. So basically, when that guy walked in, Jen, like, well, first, like, she kind of uses the breaking the fourth wall thing where she's like, did they previously on this character, like they do at the beginning of shows, like, did they remind you of this character? Anyway,
Oh, yeah, they have the little
Right.
flashback to remind you who he is.
because she's like, you probably don't even remember this guy, do you?
And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, she hulks out and like throws that guy in the corner, but then they're like, "Oh, you got to calm down," and that's when they all kind of get in this group therapy meeting. So now Jen, as She-Hulk, is in there. So Jen has a scene where she kind of expresses sadness that she's overshadowed by She-Hulk, which I actually think was a good scene of the show.
Like, I think that would have been like a good like arc actually, because they talk about her being kind of like mousy or whatever, and like she's kind of like a plain Jane maybe even, and then like kind of at will she can turn into this gorgeous, glamorous like superhero.
Right.
And like you could see how that could be like I don't know, it's kind of weird because it's kind of hard to approach that storyline about feminism because like she's almost automatically getting like that gift. It's like everybody has like fantasies of being like that gorgeous, like attractive person. Like you can just pretty much do that on will, but then at the same time, like you're like, maybe people just don't really like me unless I'm beautiful, or you have all these kind of like psychological kind of gotchas. And I think that could be like pretty powerful components.
Right. It's like if you could magically change into that better version of yourself and all of a sudden you were getting like all the good attention, then you'd be like, oh, well, people really then don't give a shit about the real me.
Yeah, right. They're like, they don't care about me unless I'm beautiful.
Yeah, and that's kind of what she expressed her. And so I actually, that was a good scene. And I think that is a good, like, idea for her
Element,
character.
yeah.
So kudos to the She-Hulk writers on this one. So then they encourage Jen to delete Josh's number. But my only thing is at this point, like, since she's hasn't heard from him at all, like, couldn't she still, like, suspect that, like, maybe something bad happened to him? Like, you know?
Yeah, maybe even especially because, like, he's in contact with her. Like, maybe he'd been abducted or something strange.
Yeah, that's what I thought could have happened, actually.
Right. So it's like, maybe she shouldn't have deleted his number,
Yeah.
like, until she was new.
But they talk her into it.
Right. I thought they were maybe going to do the thing where, like, she did that, but then we find out, no, she didn't really delete his number. She just, but no. Well, I guess they could still do that. But, okay, so yeah, now Jen, she gets the tow truck, she leaves. And then,
Well,
here's...
Let's pause for a second.
Oh, sure.
Because we have all these guys in the meeting, and we didn't talk about all of them, but there's like a guy who is or thinks he's a vampire.
Yeah, he thinks he's a vampire.
There's a guy in like a porcupine suit,
Right.
which I don't know how much that expands to like who he actually is. You got Man Bull or Bull Man, I forget.
Yeah.
Man Bull, I think.
You got Blonsky and
Swashbuckler.
Swashbuckler, and then like the kind of wiener guy that attacked her.
Wrecker, yeah.
And Swashbuckler and Manbull have a very codependent relationship.
Right. They're talking about their codependency.
They keep hammering that
and they
one.
have like this, like a bromance or something.
Yeah.
But well, I see this group, and they kind of seem to be like on her side and going whatever. And part of me is like, I'm hoping that like they turn out to be like actually good guys, because there haven't been any in this show, and it's kind of like demoralizing. So I'm kind of like, I'm hoping these are like kind of like the misgotten misfits, and they kind of band together, and like
Oh, yeah.
They do seem that way.
it does kind of seem that way. And I'm kind of hoping that's where it goes.
I mean, the only one I could see maybe like being revealed to still be a shithead is the Wrecker guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't really know much about him. It's just the fact that he's there at all is weird. But
I can't see them making Porcupine take a heel turn.
sweet looking, like they got him to take off his mask, and he's like this sweet little black guy under there.
Yeah.
Like, but they're all like, "Oh, you smell like shit."
Your fucking face stinks.
Listen, I like you, but you need a fucking bath, bud.
Yeah, dip him in a pool.
But yeah, okay.
But they did feel like the most like low budget like characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
But I didn't write down, but she at one point was hurting for a yurtin. So
Oh yeah,
right.
because Emilia tried to talk her into a yurt because she was stranded there, and she's like not having any of it. And then she's like, "Oh, you know what? I am hurting for a yurt." And you're like, "Okay, you got that line in." There's our soundbite.
So yeah, she gets the tow truck, she goes home, and then this is where they drop it on us. We find out that 3 days earlier, Josh, after their sexcapades, he used his cell phone to basically copy the data off of her cell phone. Then he took a picture of her like sleeping naked, and then he texted somebody that we don't know, basically that he got her DNA.
Yeah, I think he took the picture as proof, like, look. see,
Oh,
I got
she's
her
really
DNA.
here.
Yeah.
Which is so like convoluted, because like when she was all drunk and tore up at the wedding, he could have taken her blood. And then he's like, let's date like 17 times and put together this beautiful montage of us falling in love. Just to show that I turned on you.
I mentioned on last week's show that he's going to be like, yeah, I got her DNA on my dick. But like,
I'm glad you reprised that. Great callback.
I really feel like I didn't get the props for it the first time.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But no, like we never see him actually like take her blood though.
Yeah, no.
So did he get dick DNA?
I don't know. He was all this like perfect man. That's how they did that doctor too. He's like, oh, he's the perfect man, and like they build it up, and they're like, no, he's a shithead. He's a real piece of shit.
Which guy?
Which doctor?
Like the muscular doctor she dated.
Oh, right. Yeah, he was only in it for She-Hulk.
He said it in court too.
I know.
He's like,
"Hey,
when
can
I
you-"
found out Jen was around, I was like, yeah, She-Hulk, she's pretty hot though.
Which, how did he not know? That's so stupid. He knew. There's no way he didn't Google.
Yeah.
He didn't even bother to be like, hey, could you not do this? Yeah, not right now. Dog just shit in my mouth. I'm having a rough morning. I don't know.
And also, like, when she slept with that guy, did she sleep as She-Hulk to not, like, freak him out or something?
I'm not sure. Like, I think she got up before he did. And when he got up, he was like, oh, jeez. Oh, my dick.
Disgusting.
Please tell me you're her ugly maid. So stupid. But yeah, overall, one of the better episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Still waiting on Daredevil though.
No Daredevil yet. Yeah, he's been hanging for a couple episodes now.
I mean, how many episodes are left?
Just two, I think.
Man,
Just two.
But yeah, at this point, like, I don't see his appearance being anything exciting. Like I said, I think it's just going to be like, you know, they work him in
Cameo.
somehow, but he's like, well, if you need me, I'll be over here doing my show. You know, I can't imagine he has anything substantial to
yeah.
do.
I see an end credit scene with like, "Hi, I heard about you."
Right.
We have the same Taylor.
Bum, bum, bum. Can you believe he used that hag convention line on me as well?
You know what I was thinking about? I mean, there's so much like, is this supposed to be about feminism? And I started thinking about it. And what do you call like asshole men? Like chauvinist, male chauvinist? And I was like, if I was like a real piece of shit and I really wanted to like write women in an unflattering way, like pretty much all the other women in this show is exactly what I would write. I mean, Titania, just garbage. Like,
Lulu,
which one was that? Is
the
that
wedding bitch.
Oh, the wedding bitch, Lulu. Which one? Which was the one that went out with Wang? Like the big titty, just like drunk all the time. Like
Madison.
right.
Madison.
Madison. I was like, Jen is like the only decent woman in this show.
What about Nikki?
Yeah, Nikki's
Is that
good.
her helper?
Yeah.
I mean, she's got some enthusiasm and whatnot, and she's okay. Oh, remember that other lawyer? Like complete and utter, like just nasty bitch.
Miss Book?
Is that the black girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's awful. I hate her.
I thought she's coming around.
I mean, she's definitely like,
Like if you have some kind of fetish where like women just beat the shit out of you with like leather implements,
Oh, yeah, she could
like
do
then I'd say she might be your girl, but no, I'm out.
I don't think Miss Book's not a total villain, but she's definitely like has an attitude.
Yeah, she's rough around the edge.
Right.
I see. I got you two pegged, or she does. See the pegging, leather to strap on.
You got to take what you can get.
Oh, you two. Well, interesting.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Right? Mrs. Book. But she has kids.
Guys, do you got anything else you want to add about this episode of She-Hulk?
I still think that one guy's bad, evil, the one who was in the meeting. He's definitely up to something. He didn't tell her about his boss. He's that thread that leads to like the main villain, I think, in the future.
I mean, do you think he is attached to Blonsky?
I'd like to believe that Blonsky doesn't know about this. I'd like to believe he's taking a turn for the good.
Yeah,
The thing
I
is,
don't.
you do want to like him as a character.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to heel turn Blonsky, but like, it does seem convenient that wrecker guy would be there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if they never bring him back.
Well, like you said, they've got like a couple episodes left. They have to squeeze Daredevil in.
Right. And they have to reveal like who is the guy behind Intelligentsia.
Yeah.
And like they got to do, when they get her DNA, you got to imagine they're going to use it to create a Hulk of their own.
Which allegedly they have it now.
Yeah, now they do.
But to me, like, they've done so little with Titania. Like, do you think she's just done? Or do you think maybe, like, the bad guy will, like, go to her and be like, do you want the means to fight her? You'll be my Hulk?
Maybe. Look, you do need to bring in Daredevil. And if you're like in Hell's Kitchen, you're in New York, whatever, then... I mean,
if they did use Kingpin like he was talking about, which I don't think they will, it would at least fit. It would connect all these shows.
It would bring some of the threads
because we know Kingpin's going to be in Echo.
Yeah,
and then Daredevil as well. So I don't see him.
He is a top villain.
But then they would be overusing Kingpin.
Maybe, but they need a villain reveal. They need somebody to be this boss, and they're trying to drag in Daredevil.
But the other thing is, no matter who this villain is, they're not going to get the mileage out of him in 2 episodes. So do you think whoever it is, they're going to like?
Well, that's the thing. He already has backstory. He always has history. He's already somebody you know. So if you just bring him in and say boom, then you get all that other stuff with it, and you tie it together. You're not trying to like build out some other thing and like. I mean, these are short episodes. These are like 20-minute episodes.
I mean, I guess if they did kind of connect this to Kingpin, and then like he was also an antagonist in Echo and then Daredevil, they could kind of make his story culminate in Daredevil, and then that would also give him an excuse to have She-Hulk She-Hulk could come into a Daredevil episode and be a lawyer,
I think that makes almost the most sense to me.
To connect these properties.
Well, they're already connecting them, so why not do as much as you can right here? Because if you just bring in somebody else right now, like you don't have enough time to do anything. It's just going to be like, okay, that was weird and random.
Yeah, it does seem weird to me because, no matter who it is, they can't do anything compelling with them in a 2 episode
can't
span.
do anything.
Maybe they're trying to do like a Defenders type thing, not like the actual series, but like where they have like crossovers with She-Hulk and then Matt Murdock and perhaps other people.
I mean,
you're right, yeah.
Daredevil also has the common enemy that ninja group, right?
Oh, the Hand, yeah.
Yeah.
The Hand, yeah. So, I mean, that could be a possibility.
Yeah, it could be interesting if like the Hand was using her DNA to like boost up their soldiers.
Right, something along those lines. I could see that maybe.
That would actually be somewhat interesting. I just hope the Daredevil show
Isn't just complete garbage.
That, and
Speculation.
I hope it has a much darker tone than this series.
Well, that's tricky too because you're trying to marry 2 properties that are pretty different in tone and pretty different in content.
Right, like how do you mix like a comedy to a drama,
Right. And you also have to bring in a male beloved character to some property that is really hating on men.
I think I read somewhere, and this might have been speculation too, but that they were going to kind of use Daredevil as this character that kind of goes between all these shows and kind of links them together.
That makes sense because he's like a lawyer, so he would be involved in that side of the thing.
You could see him pulling some of these together, maybe.
I think it could be kind of cool to have like an episode of Moon Knight and Daredevil together as well. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Moon Knight. Yeah, I really don't know. We had some like plot holes with Moon Knight, but
there was, but overall, I still like that series.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the better ones.
Yeah, really not sure where it would go to connect from there. I mean, you still got the Italian character, which they brought out at the last episode, right?
Right. The psycho killer.
Complete psychopath. Yeah, maybe.
Did either of you guys watch that little trailer they had for Secret Invasion? a couple weeks
No,
ago.
I haven't heard of that.
It's going to be like Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, and it's also going to be like scroll centric, where like it's kind of like a who's going to be a scroll type of thing, kind of an espionage type thing. It looks good.
I mean, I don't think I've heard the term scroll before.
Oh, they're like a race.
They're shapeshifters.
Yeah, shapeshifter race.
They were in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, they were the ones running away from the blue people, from the Kree.
God, did I?
They were green.
You need to.
I don't remember shit.
If you didn't watch Captain Marvel, you need to rewatch
I don't
it.
think I did watch it.
Give it a watch. Seriously, give it a watch.
I'm pretty sure I didn't watch it.
I think it's worth a watch. You should do it.
There's a chance I did watch it, and it was just like trash.
No, it's good.
Captain Marvel's good.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, I might have to look. I don't know. I like it. There's so many things going on that, and I haven't watched all of it, and like things kind of fall apart and crumble around me.
I know. I think you need to rewatch the whole thing. Just go on.
I don't have it in me.
From Iron Man.
I just
all
don't.
the way-
It is a lot of content.
I struggle with Iron Man, especially the
first
one,
Iron Man is great.
The first one I coped with. The other ones I was just like I was struggling.
The third one
Hard.
is the worst.
I don't know,
The
first
third one's
Iron
definitely
Man,
one of
I
those ones that was like so much action, like I was falling asleep.
Which one?
The third one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like all these Iron Man suits blowing up into fireworks.
Yeah,
and
I would swear the final act of
I fell
Iron Man.
asleep.
The final act of Iron Man 3, I think, was guest directed by Michael Bay. It's just action
bad.
overload. It's
Yeah.
To me, that's the worst MCU movie, Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've skipped enough that I can't comment on that. Like I got to where like if they weren't doing like 80 or 90 or above, like I wasn't watching it. I was just like I can't do it.
How many of them get that high, though? Well, I guess.
Yeah, quite a few.
Most of them get over 80. A lot of
Okay.
them, but yeah, I fell out.